So I've come to think that you and I and pretty much every other human being on this planet want one thing above all else, and that is freedom. Freedom from pain, shame, and fear, freedom from the voices in our head, and freedom from those behaviors that keep us stuck. So today I'm going to show you a solution to that problem that I think I've started to figure out, because I believe there is a part of your brain, in your skull right now, that allows you to be mentally and emotionally free. And most people live their entire lives not even knowing that this is possible. Now, I hate using extreme cliche phrases like this, but I genuinely think if you can tap into this mental ability, then everything in your life can change. Some of the first psychologists, known as behaviorists, thought the human mind worked a bit like this. We perceive a stimulus in the environment, i.e. me seeing a cup of coffee, and then we respond to that stimulus with a specific behavior, i.e. me drinking the coffee. And how we respond to a stimulus depends on the experiences that we've had and learned from in the past. But then as the 20th century continued, there was what is known as a cognitive revolution, where psychologists began to be more interested in how mental processes influence our behavior. No longer did it seem that the mind just worked with a simple stimulus-response relationship. Yes, the behaviorist paradigm in a sense was still true, but because much of behaviorist research was done only on animals, it missed out on a part of the mind that was specific to human beings. What the cognitive revolution revealed was that there's a mediary stage of awareness and consciousness between stimulus and response that is specific to human beings. And it is this stage that today's video is about, because I think this part of the human mind can either ruin our emotional and mental lives, or, if used effectively, allow us to reach a level of mental freedom. But if you're not convinced, let's talk about dogs, because you probably have a dog, and if you don't, you definitely know someone who does. When you leave the house, your dog gets sad. The stimulus is your absence, and the response is obvious signs of anxiety, like scraping at the door or howling or something like that. But when you get home, you will find that your dog is happy. And as long as it hasn't been traumatized in the past, it will no longer show the same anxious responses that it did when you weren't there. Animals will often feel an emotion without that conscious self-awareness human stage, and then when the stimulus changes, they will feel a different emotion. Nice and simple. But human beings are really quite different, right? When a bad thing happens to us, our emotional processing can be a lot more complicated. When we feel something like anxiety, right, that human awareness stage notifies us that we are having a bad feeling that we don't like. And this often causes us to avoid truly feeling and truly addressing that anxiety. Or think about the way that some bad memories constantly arise in your mind. Moments of embarrassment, of shame, of guilt. Right? We can fixate on these feelings because we're so deeply aware of them and never ever move past them. We are the only animals that drag bad feelings back from the past, because if that mediary human awareness stage is working against us, then we will constantly be ruminating on what has happened before and have a negative response, even if the stimulus right now in our environment is different. However, and this is an important however, as much as this seems scary, I think there is another side to this coin. I personally believe that this human mediary stage of self-awareness is under our control. We can use this mediary stage to our advantage. In fact, I think we can change our whole relationship to our emotional experience, and in so doing, change our relationship with our lives as a whole. We can alchemize uncomfortable experiences into ones that serve us. We can turn emotional lead into emotional gold. And it's this ability, this usage of this human self-awareness that I think allows us to reach a level of true mental freedom. And I'm going to explain specifically how right now. All emotions serve a purpose. That's why they exist, right? Anxiety and depression tell you where you are in comparison to your comfort zone or your long-term life goals. Pain is just the other side of the coin to love, and you have to be open to both. And joy tells you when you're on the right path and you're doing the right things. Even the most difficult emotions have a function. And from a certain perspective, you can observe the function of an emotion and see how it benefits your life as a whole. And therefore my argument and the overall message of this video is that that mediary stage of human self-awareness can be used to evaluate and reframe the feelings and experiences that we have to see the overall function and benefit that they serve to our lives as a whole. Essentially, we can alchemize what we would originally think as bad experiences or bad feelings into ones that serve us. So let's say someone rejects you. Good. You now know that they weren't the right person, and you are now more available for the right person to come along. Let's say you didn't reach a goal in your life. Good. You now know what doesn't work to improve your approach next time. Let's say that you aren't happy with the position you're in life. Good, right? That means you can build something. You can make something from nothing. You can be a hero in your own life and create your own story. Because no matter how your external life changes, where you are, what you do, what you have, you're always going to face emotional struggles and battles, right? Because whenever you go out in the world and try and achieve long-term difficult goals, things are going to happen that you don't expect. And whenever you get involved in relationships, you can't control people, so things are going to come up and shock your emotional system. But with this self-awareness and this ability to evaluate and reframe our emotional experience, that creates an inner world within you, within your mind, that cannot be rocked by anything that happens in the external world. You are then equipped with psychological tools, with a mindset to let go of any emotional weight that you're holding that just isn't needed. But this, at the end of the day, is a skill, right? I'm not going to promise you that this is a watch one Joel Clifton video and immediately change type thing. You have to work on it with effort over time. And that's why most people just don't do this. We can extend the length of this awareness gap and deepen our awareness through mindfulness practices like meditation, journaling, and generally just being introspective and reflective about our lives. I've started meditating properly again, and I just can't believe I was lazy enough to neglect it for a few months. Mindfulness changes how you look at your entire life, and the more you work on that perspective, that inner world, that self-consciousness, the easier you can deal with the outer world. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you found some value from this video, and if you'd like to continue your voyage through your own psychology in the quest of self-development, you can watch this video here that I worked pretty hard on. But with that said, I'll see you all next time.